David Jameson wrote a great piece about a Trump conflict of interest that nobody's talking about. So Trump owns a bunch of hotels. He owns a bunch of golf courses. And what did Obama recently do? Well, Obama decided he was going to expand the overtime pay for people. So it used to be about $23,000, a $23,000 salary per year. If you make that or less, it's mandated you get overtime by law if you work overtime. Obama said no, $47,000. Raised that. So now President-elect Trump is going to take over, and he said, and the Republicans said, we're going to get rid of that. We don't agree with that. We're going to get rid of that because they're, massively business friendly, and they don't care about workers as much as they say they do. So, but think about it. Many people who work directly for Trump are beneficiaries of that. So the example they give in the article is at one of his golf courses, one of the greenskeepers, somebody who's in charge of keeping everything in shape, keeping the golf course in shape, they might make, $43,000 a year, something like that, busting their ass to keep the courses in shape in Florida in the winter specifically. And they're working 60-hour weeks. Well, Donald Trump benefits from scrapping that and saying, no, $23,000 and under, that's when you get overtime pay. It's not $47,000. Obama made it $47,000. So if Obama's rule stays in place, that guy's forced to get overtime pay, and Trump would be the one that has to pay it as the owner of the golf course. That is a direct conflict of interest. Now, Trump says, well, look, my kids will take over it. Didn't you also argue for your kids to have access to all the classified information and top secret information and all the access? So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, hey, they're part of my administration. We work hand in hand with them. And oh, yeah, they're also going to run the businesses. But don't worry, there's no conflict of interest. No, that would be a conflict of interest. And it's not, by the way, it's even if the kids run it, is that distance enough for you to be like, there's no conflict of interest? No, of course there's still a conflict of interest. They're still Trump businesses. So, and this is why we discussed it recently. He registered 8 new businesses during the campaign in Saudi frickin' Arabia. All right, well, that's some shit that if Hillary did it, everybody would explode and say, whoa, fucking corruption out the wazoo yet again, because she's corrupt with the Clinton Foundation, taking money from Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and everybody said, what? Well, now you're going to do favors for them. What do you think, we're stupid? This is why you're giving them weapons deals. So what do you think President Trump is going to do now that he opened 8 new businesses in Saudi Arabia? When he's president, is he going to say, hey, you know what? We're going to actually crack down on all their abuses. We're going to, do our best to stop the fact that they don't allow women to drive and that they're a human rights abusing factory and they bomb civilians in Yemen. You think President Trump is going to stand up to them when he just registered 8 new businesses there? No, because now he's got a financial interest in having the relations between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia go smoothly so they can get away with whatever they want to get away with. And it is what it is, and Trump's not going to care. There was a picture the other day of him doing business with, I think it was real estate partners in India. This is when he's already president-elect, and he's having a business meeting about properties in India. No. You're president-elect now. You can't do that. Because how are we supposed to know that you have so much authority and so much power? But if you have businesses in India, well, then we know you're going to do favors for India and you're going to bend over backwards to do right for your own financial incentive and your own interest. I mean, this is corruption 101. Now you control the levers of power and you're going to pick favorites among, foreign leaders and among states for business reasons. So no, there are deep, deep conflicts of interest, man. And the same shit we went after Hillary for about, she's going to enrich herself with this position of power. Correct, she would do that. Trump is going to do that too. And Trump is going to look the other way when regimes he likes to do horrible things because, hey, I got business dealings with them and a million other reasons. So, but I think this one is the clearest one to see. That Obama changed the overtime rules for the better, and then now Trump has a direct conflict of interest. He has a direct reason, personally, financially, to get rid of those overtime protections for workers because he owns businesses where people would benefit from that. So he's going to try to roll it back because it saves him money and screws over his workers. That is the textbook definition of a financial conflict of interest.